Now, bias. First of all, you look out for your support and resistance zone. Support and resistance zone. You can look out for trend lines too. Trend lines. You use your trend lines to join. Okay, trend lines. Then lastly, okay, key levels. The same thing as support and resistance zone. So lastly, your strategy. The strategy we trade with MSS, DBOS, inducement, and PY. So these are what I look out for. If I'm using my trend line, say I use this trend line to actually find what was happening here. It was where it was reacting from. And okay, when we have a market that is trending to the upside, instead of us to reverse that trend, the directional bias will tell us is buying. So we look for buys. When it comes to this zone, we can look for buys. You see that the market reacted from the other block. The same to me here too. You just look for buys. Keep looking for buys when it comes to the zone on your trend line. So you can either spot it on the trend line you've marked, or you look for something similar to what you trade, like the MSS, like your strategy. Let's take for instance, so I was making this trend line to the upside, break of structure, you can see it, break of structure. Then from the highest high, it shifted to market structure shift. These are inducements around here. If I check it out on weekly, if you are not seeing something clear on daily, go to weekly. But you need to be seeing something very, very clear. Very, very clear. So this is it. And when it came here, I don't just jump into the trade. I go to my 15 minutes, 30 minutes, because I'm a day trader. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then I look out for the strategy that I trade with: market structure shift, inducements, and my nearest point of interest. Why am I looking for market structure shift? Because I'm trading in reversals. It was buying and I want to sell the market. I want to reverse the trend, so I'll look for market structure shift on a shorter time frame. When I find, I'll keep selling. So this basically just happened. This is an MSS inducement, is just around here. This can be your IDM too. It's a pullback inducement, but your inducement happened around here. This can be your inducement too. This candle can be your inducement. Either way. So when it gets here, you keep on looking for, like, once you put this stuff around here, you know that you keep selling until it clears this draw on liquidity. Until it clears this zone, you will keep on selling. You will not reverse the trend or do anything crazy. You keep on selling. So that's basically it. That's just the same thing in directional bias. If you want to look for the directional bias, just look out for this what the market is forming on a higher time frame. When it got here, you found out okay, stay buying. I use my trend lines. When it gets to this trend line, I look for buys, and you keep buying until it clears the last high because it's forming higher highs, higher lows. Oh my god. Network. Network is crazy. Okay, back to what we are doing. So when it gets to this trend line, you connect your trend line. When it touches, you start looking for buys because a trend is meant to be forming. Oh my god. I'm in class. So sorry guys. So on when it will be forming something like this when it's on a trend. Something like this. You understand? So when it gets to any part on your trend line, you start looking for buys. You just connect it. This is a trend. It can be forming anything, reversing, can be selling, can be selling, can be selling. You connect it. Once it gets to that zone on a higher time frame, don't go and be looking for your directional bias on a four on an hour or 30 minutes. No, you look for the least I can go is 4 hours. That is the least I can go. I hope you can all hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So the least we can go is 4 hour time frame. We start from daily, weekly, you know, trying to find a directional bias. I said something about if you want to look for a directional bias, you go to your daily, your 4 hour, your weekly, and then you spot out either you spot out your support and resistance zone. That is when it gets here, we'll be looking for sell, or when it gets here, we'll be looking for buy. But it has to clear this liquidity. You see, it just game, it tapped it and it stayed buying. So your support and resistance zone, two trend lines, something like this on a higher time frame. It reacted here. When it gets here, reacted. When it gets here, look for the same thing. When it gets here, look for the same thing. You can also connect that same trend line on a 4 hour, on a daily, I'm on a weekly on this chart. I'm on a weekly on this chart. So the next thing you look out for is your strategy, the strategy you trade with, which is our MSS, our inducement and POI. When it got here, I won't just jump into the trade. I'll look for my confirmation on 15 minutes, 30 minutes time frame, my market structure shifts, inducements, and the closest unmitigated POI. And then I keep selling until it gets to this zone. You just keep selling, keep selling, keep selling. As you know that okay, the directional bias is bullish or bearish. So someone asked me, where do we start looking for our MSS? We start looking for MSS in zones like this. This is a trend line in zones. This zone, this zone, this zone, zones like this, you can be looking for MSS. Zones like this, zones like this, or you get to this other block, this weekly other block here, or a breaker block, anyone. You see that there's an other block or weekly breaker block, anything. Zones like that. I remember on this zone, this other block here, I was looking for sales which I got, which I showed you guys now last class. In our last class, I just kept selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. This is it. So in this kind of scenario, you look out for your MSS. You don't just jump into the market. You don't know where it's reacting from or anything. So UJ was overall bullish, but this was a zone to react from. Therefore, my MSS inducement, we got an entry. To join in the trend, DBOS inducement, we the nearest POI, which is the other block, we got in. DBOS inducement, other block, we got in. DBOS inducement, other block, we got in. Until it cleared some lows, and then it made this push to the upside. So I was like, okay, because I had a sell, like I told you guys before, I had a sell around here. It took me out. I know, okay, it wants to continue its bullish trend. So what we'll be looking out for is market structure, which we got here. Inducements, it moved to this highest drawn liquidity, this TP here. Double break of structure, inducements, it moved to this zone. But while moving, it gave us another double break of structure, inducements. This can be an inducement too. As an entry around here on a 4 hour, touched and moved. So while moving, I had this entry here, double break of structure, inducement, my other block, and there was a clear manipulation. I don't know, something that was meant to be ranging, but it's part of it because nobody understands. Once you see the markets like this, not giving any clear stuff, you just let it be. So like I said earlier, this is just basically how you find your directional bias in the market. It's not, if you don't understand, just keep watching the video. Trading reversals, you look for your market structure shift. Like gold now, anybody that hops on gold will know that, okay, gold is bullish. It's overall bullish. It's overall bullish. If you check on daily, it's something that has been making series of all-time highs, back to all-time highs, back to all-time. This is a bullish market. You can't just come and want to sell gold. You understand? This is what it has been doing ever since. You don't even need to link anything. This shows you the market is bullish. But in zones like this now, maybe this is a daily. Market comes to this zone. This zone now pushed the market below. I remember this high. This zone. This is another block. See that is it falls under key levels, that is support and resistance zone. This is a daily order block. Definitely this will push the market below to this buy order block. So it's either you wait for to push this market to this buy order block here, around here. You see what just happened. So it's either you wait for this buy to sell until it gives you another entry to keep buying, or you can sell from here. Once it gets here, you look for your market structure shift, then get into the trend until it gets to this place. To definitely sell, and which it did. I know many traders enter this sell. So once it gets to a perfect zone, it tends to sell. Like this other block now, this other block, this this other block, you see that it sold the market down to this zone. You just need to know when it has changed structure. On your eye, if you look out, you see gold has made the market structure shift, is bullish. Just get off the trade. Just trade in line with the trend. But when it gets to something like your daily order block, your like support and resistance, you just know that markets will react from that zone. So this is a clear reaction. This is a clear reaction. Look out for MSS. It kept selling, kept selling. Guys, you need to be an experience too will teach you, because you need to be active to know when the market has changed structure to the upside or to the downside. So that's just basically how you find your directional bias on any market. You go to BTC, you go to your daily 4 hour, look out for what the market is doing. Either you find your support and resistance level, use your trend line to join the lines. What is it doing? Use your trend line. Use your trend line. Use your trend line. Find out what the market is doing at these zones. If you find out, okay, it's reacting from the breaker, from the breaker, it's not actually touching the trend line. At the breaker blocks, that is where you start looking for your entries. Stuff like that. If it's from the other block, you look for your entries from the other block. When it gets to the other block, you look for your entry, the other block.